she's not alone. Miss.
Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Of course, the second I just hit the record button, all my channels went away. So give me 1 second. Where did they go? Let's see. Tell me where you're coming from. If you are catching the replay, be sure to let me know that you're watching and what you're excited about tonight. Tonight we have Jerry Minchey. He is the author of the best-selling book, Social Security Secrets. I know that's not the actual title. I have it right here. And he's also written, I think, a dozen other books, most of them on RVing. I know a few on some other things. And give me 1 second. I've almost got everything pulled up. I just love when my software does this and closes all my windows the second I hit live. It's really awesome and not nerve-wracking at all. But yeah, awesome. We are up. Hey guys. All right, now I can see the comments. Whoa, Nellie's here. Hey Lucy. Hey Katie Lee. Trekkers. What's up? What's up? Awesome, Heidi. Let's celebrate you. She says, hello, everyone. We made it to Gilbert Ray Campground just outside of Saguaro National Park in Tucson. It's first come, first served, and they got in. Awesome. Congrats, Heidi. That's really cool. If you guys remember Heidi, she was in our very first episode of TVC Live, so let's show her some love. Welcome, everybody. Hey, Tara. Hey, Ron. Thanks for tuning in, man. Hey, Brian. What's up? Hey, Sandy. Awesome. Thanks, you guys, for coming. Remember, say hi in the comments. I love comments now that I can see them. Tonight, we've got Jerry Minchey coming in. Super excited to talk to him. And full disclosure tonight, my husband and my daughter, if you guys don't know, they actually leave the RV for the show. And both of them are not feeling good. So I'm not going to rush it, but we're not going to be doing a game tonight. And I'm just going to try to keep it as simple as possible so that they can come home because it's actually raining and they don't feel good. And they literally just drive around or hang out in a parking lot or go to Chick-fil-A while I do this show. It really takes, the whole family to do this show. So I don't want to keep them waiting too long tonight. Hey, Ron. Hey, Dave. Dave made it. Awesome. Hey, Dick. Says, can we try to guess what they have? Yeah, sure. Go for it, Dick. Anyway, tonight I want to bring out Jerry Minchey. Like I said, he's the best-selling author of a ton of RV books, a ton of books, really. I met him for the very first time at the Tampa RV show. Last month, I was hanging out with my friends Bill and Porter. We were actually at the Less Junk More Journey meetup, and my friend Bill said, hey Liz, I want you to meet my friend Jerry. I've known him. I met him at a campground, I think, a while ago, and I said, Jerry, I love your hat, and you'll see in just a minute what I mean. And he said, I have a white one for summer and a black one for winter. And I said, this guy has to be on my show. I don't even think I knew that he had written those books yet. I said, he's just got a personality that I just want to share with everyone. And I asked him right then and there to be on the show. He said, yeah, sure. Whatever. That sounds great. And he sent me a few of his books a couple weeks ago. And I have been loving reading them. Like I said, when I bring him out, he's got this personality. And I'll read some of the quotes for you later. But Secrets of RVing on a Dime and a Dream, Full-Time RV Living. This is his latest book. He just released it this year, actually. Quit Your Job and Live in an RV. I know that's a dream of a lot of people's. And I think this is probably like the #1 best-selling RV book of all time, Secrets of RVing on Social Security. I know when Alyssa Paget launched her book, How to Live in an RV, she, when she hit the #1 spot, she said, oh my gosh, that Secrets of RVing on Social Security is at #2. I've never seen that before. So this book has sold, I don't know how many copies. I'm sure Jerry does. Maybe he'll tell us, but it's sold a lot. Hey guys, excited that you're here. Thanks for popping in the comments. Let's bring him on. Hey Jerry, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Beautiful hat tonight.
Not here, it's not.
So, first question, I just have to ask, how long have you been wearing these hats?
Oh, probably 10 years.
That's awesome. Where did you get your first one?
Bald head covered.
What'd you say?
It keeps my bald head covered.
Oh my gosh, you're bald.
Not really.
Oh, I was... Well, I mean, you would never know. I see a little scruff right here, but... that's not bad. My brother is only 35. Well, he's about to turn 35. And he's been going bald since he was about 18. Poor guy always wears a baseball cap. So you're doing great. Yeah, Kimberly says, yep, Social Security, my fave. Welcome, Jerry. Everyone's really excited. So tell us about your RVing story. That's how we usually start.
Well, I've been full-time RVing about 7 years now. And it was kind of an easy transition for me. I'd sold it, house and everything years ago and been living in condos. So I had pretty well downsized anyway. And then when I got ready to go to RV, it's just a natural progression, I guess. I didn't do like I described in my book how to go about it. I went to one RV lot and the guy was lied to me, so I left there. He said a new RV had new tires on it, and new tires worth about $6,000. I knew that wasn't right, so I didn't want to hear anything else he had to say. So the next day I went to another RV lot and dealership, and I looked at 3 RVs and negotiated a little bit and bought one. So in the book I said that's not the way to do it, but I bought a Class A and I've had it so far, no problems with it. So
you've had your original RV for 7 years then?
Yeah. Had a refrigerator go out, and that's about the only problem.
Wow, that's awesome. Did you buy it brand new?
Oh no, it's a 2001.
Oh, okay.
So 18 years old now.
Wow. Congratulations. That's amazing. Because even we have a 2007, we bought it 10 years old, and we've had more problems. So, despite your best advice, you really lucked out then, I guess.
I think all it looks, all you can say.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. You said, this is not the advice I normally give. So what, if someone's buying a new RV or new to them RV, what is the advice that you give them going into RVing?
Well, if it's their first RV, I tell people, everybody thinks it's real hard to pick out the RV you want for your home. And I say that it's real easy if you look at it from an approach that your only criteria is to find a used RV that you can sell in a year or two and get your money back or close to it. Maybe even make a profit on it, because almost everybody, after a year or 2 years on the road, want a different RV from what they started out with. And most of them want a smaller RV. Very few go larger. But you don't know much about RVs, and if you do, whatever you think you want changes. I had one friend that started doing the RV life, and one thing he wanted to do was he did not want a boondock. In fact, he got a Class B and didn't even have holding tanks because he wasn't going to boondock. After about a year on the road, that's all he wants to do is boondock. So he got a different one, totally changed what he wanted to do. So that's, most people say your whole criteria is just to find an RV that you can buy and sell again in a year or two and get most of your money back.
That's great. Do you have any tips on that, on doing that?
On the main thing, you got to find a bargain. Of course, can't find a bargain if you don't know what the going rate is. So you have to do a lot of looking. So you look on eBay and look at what RV is sold, not the asking price. And PPL Motors, they have a site, they sell about 4,000 RVs a year, mainly on consignment, but they list what every one of them sold for. So you can look up a particular model and see what it's sold for. That's a good way to learn the price. But you want to find a bargain, and you can't find a bargain if you don't know what they're selling for.
Yeah, that's very true. When we bought our first RV, we were kind of like you. We just said, yeah, we're going to go for it, and we went out and we bought the RV. And we thought we got a bargain, and I don't think we got, I guess we didn't get screwed, but we probably would have gotten a much better deal had we done even just, this much of research, right? And nowadays, I know in your books you mention all sorts of RV bloggers and things like that. So now I feel like there's just a plethora of information out there for people.
My big piece of advice is do not buy a new RV as your first one. because you're going to want something different, and you're going to take a big loss to try to sell it in a year. So.
Yes, that was one thing we did do right. We said, hey, we don't know if we're actually going to like this RVing thing. Let's buy something where if we want to move back into an apartment or something, we can afford the payment or take the loss. And that site you mentioned was PPL Motorhomes, correct?
I think it's PPL. I think it's Motorhomes.
Okay.
They have a place in Houston and one in Florida.
Okay, yeah.
RVs on consignment.
Yeah, Heidi says
a lot
PPL
of their RVs
Motorhomes.
are in rough condition, but they still they show the price of what they actually sold for.
Well, that's very valuable information just having you on. I didn't even know that about PPL Motorhomes. I'm sure my husband does. He's mentioned them several times, but I didn't know much about them. So that's awesome. Thank you so much. But I was getting way ahead of myself in those. I'm just nailing you with questions already. I was going to ask you, you travel alone, and I always get questions about, can I do this solo? What would you say your experience has been RVing solo, and have there been any unique challenges on the road being alone?
None at all. I've actually enjoyed being solo on it. A lot of people are concerned about, I guess, security and being lonely. Neither one of those has ever been a problem. I think security is not a problem at all, because RVs, I think you're safer in an RV than you are in a house or apartment. There's no riffraff around where RVs park, whether it's in an RV campground or in boondocking. And there's nothing to steal. You break in an RV, what would you steal? So it's not good pickings for most thieves. So you're safe that way. And then lonely. Nobody's lonely around RVers. They're the friendliest bunch to be. They're more friendlier than streetwalkers in Las Vegas. So.
Oh my gosh. That is awesome. Somebody please write that down. RVers are more friendly than streetwalkers in Vegas. Do you mind if I just share a side story about streetwalkers in Vegas?
No.
So, not talking about strippers here or anything, but my husband and I, we went to Vegas for a summer trip. We went for the 4th of July. We went on a vacation there. And my husband doesn't like the city. He's a country boy, if that's the right word. But he just doesn't like crowds. He's not used to going to the city. He doesn't know how to, deal with those, what would you call them? Like hegglers. I don't know the right word. That's not the right word. But, those people that bombard you and try to get you to buy something on the street. So, there was these older, like, Asian women selling the beads, with the prayer beads or whatever, and we were walking, downtown Vegas on the Strip, and I saw them, I said, no thank you, and I just went like this, and I just kept walking. Well, a couple minutes later or whatever, I said, oh, hey, what do you want to do? And I noticed Ed wasn't with me, so I had to backtrack. I had to walk back, like 2, 3 buildings back. And there he was talking to these prayer bead ladies. And he spent, I think it was something like $10 on these prayer beads. He said, oh, I got this for you. And I said, baby, you probably could have gotten that for a quarter. I said, how much did you pay? And $10. And I will never let him live that down. So, the fact that you said RVers are more friendly than those types of people just really made me laugh, because I immediately thought of that story. But, again, slightly off topic, but I still thought it was probably funny. I hope that was a funny story. But that's true. RVing, I have found so many people that are friendly. I love meeting people at the pool. That's one of the reasons why I prefer campgrounds to boondocking. I know a lot of people say, you're not lonely boondocking. You have people out there. But I find those groups tend to meet up on purpose, where I just like meeting... This is probably going to sound terrible. I just like meeting strangers. I do. I love meeting people. Heidi says, no prayer beads for Liz. She says, that would make a great book title, Jerry. RVers are friendlier than Vegas streetwalkers. That's funny. All right, let me look back at my notes, because now I have no idea where we are in the interview after that story. All right, yeah, let's talk about your books. So you've written a ton of them. I know some of them have not been about RVing, so it made me wonder, have you always been an author and a writer before you got into RVing?
Not at all. My background's engineering, and I never got more than a C out of an English class in college in my life, and that was probably a gift. So, well, when I got into RVing, I decided a lot of people was asking me about RVing and retired, so I tried to write a book about it. And all my books, I write them kind of like I talk. I just sit down like I'm talking to a friend and write the book. Then I go on Fiverr and have some people proofreading the books. On my last book, after you got it back from the proofreader, it was 612 errors I made, so I corrected all 612, I think. But then I get somebody on Fiverr.com to do the editing and somebody to sign the cover. And I just write like I talk.
That's awesome. So, what book was the very first one that you wrote?
The Motorhome and RV Retirement was the first one, and then Secrets of RVing on Social Security was the second one. And those two are still my bestsellers.
That's awesome. Yeah, they are bestsellers. I love that you say you just write like you talk, because I was reading some of these books, and I was just, like you just said with the Vegas thing, that's how these books read. They read just like your voice, which is great. So let me find a quote that I thought was just particularly just really funny and witty, and I really liked it. So I'm going to read it to the audience and see what they think too. All right, guys. So this is from Secrets of RVing on a Dime and a Dream. Frugal RVing on $1,000 a month or less, which I don't know how this one isn't beating Social Security, because that, like, with a title like that, who wouldn't buy it, right? So Jerry is talking about where he likes to camp, and he mostly camps on the East Coast. And he says, I've stepped out of the door of my motorhome and been face to face with a black bear more than once. It's interesting, I've seen more bears inside city limits of small towns and mountains than I have out in the wild. Maybe it's because the bears know it's against the law to fire a gun inside city limits. So they're safe. But if they go out in the wild, they could get shot. And Jerry, I just read that. I mean, I literally had it circled because I read it out loud to my husband, and we just really liked that. And there's a few other pages that I circled. I know you talk about how the West, you're less than impressed with the West Coast, the desert mainly. You say it's not that beautiful.
I like trees more than I do deserts.
Yeah, and that's what I liked about your books, and that's what I liked about meeting you in Tampa, was you just seem like a really authentic, you get what you get, here I am kind of guy, and I just thought that was so great. Yeah, so that's a great quote. So can you tell us about your latest book? Here, let me hold it up for everybody. Full-Time RV Living, What I Wish I Would Have Known After 7 Years, correct?
Yeah, that book, that is the latest one, and I mainly wrote that book to, pretty much like it says, to cover all the things I learned the hard way, so that other people won't have to learn them the hard way. So it's some of the information is just common sense, and everybody says, well, that's common sense, but some of it is things you wouldn't have thought of. So it goes into a list of just things that you pretty well learn the hard way through the RVing. It's just a lot to learn. You don't have to know it all before you start, but you learn things as you go along.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my gosh. If you watch the first couple episodes of this show, all I'm doing is talking about all the insane mistakes that I made. Even, I had been learning and blogging about RVing a little over a year before I actually started traveling in the RV. And even then, having friends in the industry, in the lifestyle, I still made so many stupid little mistakes, And yeah, you would think it would be common sense, but when you're out there traveling, sometimes it can be really stressful, especially if you haven't done your homework. You haven't read all Jerry's books. It can be really, really stressful. Sandra says it's a great read. Awesome, Sandra. The RVers say, hey, Jerry. Panama Parker says, hey. I'm assuming that's somebody you know. Awesome. Heidi says he is so humble and sweet. I agree. Yeah, so there was, yeah, so I already read that quote. I wrote down that I wanted to read that black bear quote because I thought it was so funny. Can you tell us any more of, I know you have a book called like 21 Weirdest Things I've Seen RVing. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, something like that to get it out and see myself.
And it's got like a weird banana orange on it or something. RVing, 21 Weird and Funny Things I've Seen. Now that is right up my alley because I don't know if you know this. I wrote a book called Tales from the Black Tank. Yeah, so I was like, ooh, I really like that. So can you share some of those like weird or funny stories that you've had on the road?
Well, a lot of the weird things, one of the things that happened to me, one of the first trips, I got everything ready and got ready to pull out, and I looked in my mirror on my driver's side. Somebody had bumped it or got turned. All I could see was the side of my RV, so I didn't know how it got bumped. But I was getting ready to go out there and straighten it up, and I realized there wasn't anything wrong with the mirrors. I just hadn't brought the slide in. The slide was all I was seeing. So thank goodness I didn't go down the road with the slide hanging out.
Oh my gosh. You know, that's so weird you said that because I was just driving on the highway here in Tampa, and, you know, everything's crazy in Tampa. But there was a guy in this really expensive motorhome. I can't remember what kind it was, but it was a huge Class A. His slide was halfway out, and I thought, ooh, because it was just out enough where it probably was really dangerous. You know, I understand if your slide can't come in all the way, you got to make it to the dealership. But he was on I-75 with it halfway out. He did not look like he was trying to be careful at all. And I thought, does he know he didn't push that button in all the way? Because I definitely wouldn't have been on the highway going as fast as he was with that big, beautiful coach. And Heidi says that she made a mistake this morning. We forgot to take the brake off the tow car. We realized it 3 miles into our trip. Yeah, I've done that. I can't lie. We've done that. Have you ever done that? Do you have a tow vehicle?
I don't think I've done that.
Oh, well, good. Congratulations.
I have seen, like, the RVs going down the road dragging their sewer hose.
Oh, my gosh. I have a story about that, too. Of course I do. This was only a few months ago, too. You'd think we would know. Ed forgot to close the valve on our black tank, and of course, I'm the passenger, so I'm not worried about my water consumption, and I'm going to the back, and I'm going pee, and we didn't notice for like 200 miles that, I think I went to the bathroom at the rest stop, and I flushed the toilet, and Ed said, oh my gosh, our valve is open, we've been driving down the road, spraying pee everywhere. Yeah, so if you've ever seen that on the road, I've done that one too. So what's another just fun thing that you've seen?
A lot of times watching people backing campers, mainly campers, into the RV parks here every Friday afternoon in the campground. There's a lot of new people coming in and going out, and I enjoy watching them back in because some of you can tell they haven't backed since 6 months ago. Of course, I can laugh at that since I'm not backing a trailer, but the other thing is, I've had several times where you back in, there's always people willing to help you get backed in, but then they won't be paying attention. I had one woman helping a guy back in the back corner of his RV, just scraped on a limb, didn't do any real serious damage. She said, oh, I wasn't watching that corner. But I've had 3 different times somebody said, oh, I wasn't watching that.
My eyes right now. Ugh, it's so hard when you're learning because you need the help, but... Yeah. And of course, yeah, and of course, like you said, RVers are super friendly. We genuinely want to help, but when it's not our rig, yeah, we can forget that back corner or that bush over there. I have been so blessed. Ed, I don't know where he got this from. He can back up anything. Like, we are in a very tight spot. If this was a video I could edit, I would take a picture and post it right now. But we're in a really tight spot on a corner. And he backed this whole thing up with the tow dolly behind it. And he had two guys come over that were watching. He's like, wow, you did that in one take. Like, he didn't have to, pull forward or anything. He was perfect the first time. I have no idea how he does it. Clearly, I don't drive this bad boy, because I would have backed it right up into the modular home behind us, for sure.
My brother's wife, they used to have a travel trailer, drove all over the country. They don't have it now, but she liked to drive. In fact, she did most of the driving. And they'd go into a campground. She was good at backing. They'd go in and she'd back it right into the tight spot the very first time. Then she would get out and people would see it was a woman driving, see the looks on their faces. So she enjoyed that.
Yeah, I would enjoy that too, but unfortunately, I don't have those types of skills. But one day I will. I do plan on going to the RV driving school. That's the only reason. I think I've mentioned this. The only reason I haven't driven yet is because I don't personally feel safe, so I want a professional to actually teach me, so, all right, so what kind of tips? You've written 12 books, you've been RVing for 7 years, what tips do you have for people to start enjoying their travels more and worrying about all this crazy stuff we've been talking about less?
And the main thing is just attitude. Just realize things are going to go wrong. If nothing went wrong and there were no unknowns, it wouldn't be an adventure. So accept the fact that there's going to be problems. I see sometimes in people backing in a couple will just be arguing like it's, I don't know, way out of proportion to what the situation calls for. Just need to relax more and accept it, and don't be so uptight. It's the main thing, in attitude.
Yeah, that's true. I've caught myself even doing that where, you've been traveling a long time, it's been a long day, and, the tension is
short.
Yeah, the tension is up to here. And then once you park and, you're in the campground, boondocking, wherever you are, you realize, like, okay, this is what it's all about. I should have relaxed. We get there when we get there, right? So, side note, Does Size Matter says, oh my gosh, Liz, if I see you on the road, I will make sure to get ahead of you. Yeah, for sure. You won't see me driving my RV anytime soon, though. But I've just never personally driven anything larger than a truck, so I just don't feel comfortable, especially since it is my house. I don't own a home. There's nowhere to go back to. We were military before this, so I feel like we don't even have a home base. Like, if this thing is ruined, we are screwed. So I'm just going to leave it to my husband, who's a professional. All right, Jerry, any other last words of wisdom for us?
I don't think so. I think you've covered it, Liz.
Awesome. And where can we find your books? And you also have a blog. Can you tell us about that real quick?
Go to the website is LifeRV, LIFERV.com, and all my books are listed there. But if you click on it, it just takes you straight to Amazon. But I put new articles every week, and a tip of the week is posted every week.
Awesome, yeah. And we actually have your name right now. It says Jerry Minchey, LifeRV.com. So you guys just go to that. It's a great resource. I subscribe to your newsletter. You have a tip of the week and everything. It's really awesome. Thank you so much, Jerry, for coming on. I really appreciate you, and I hope you have a great night.
Well, I enjoyed it. Thank you, Liz.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Awesome. That was so great. Jerry is just a wealth of information, and like he said, you can find all his books on Amazon. He also has books on... I don't even know where I should have asked him this. Dang it. He has books on, like, restaurant management and how to become a waiter and, like, make more tips and all this stuff. So he's just a wealth of knowledge. And, yeah, this is pretty much, like, the #1 book ever for RVing. of course, especially 10 years ago, you know, it was mostly just older people on Social Security, but now it's cool. I was going to say weird, but cool people like me also want to try RVing. And this is his brand new one, Full-Time RV Living, What I Wish I Would Have Known 7 years ago before I hit the road. It's really good. He's got some really good nuggets. He's got kind of like a dry sense of humor that I think you guys will really like. Heidi says, show us your t-shirt. Looks kind of cool. This is a t-shirt I got at the RV Entrepreneur Summit back in 2017. It says, own your day. It was like an attendee shirt. And this is Heath and Alyssa Paget's RV and their little design. So yeah, I really like this shirt too. Thanks, Heidi. Yeah, so things are moving along. Sorry if that felt rushed. Again, Chelsea and Ed are really not feeling good. Does Size Matter says, we are more worried about your bathroom habits. Are you talking about me, or did I lose something in the comments? Either way. All right. Exploring the Local Life says, we have Liz on 2 separate devices. It's on Echo in the RV. That's awesome. That makes me feel good. All right. So next, like I said, we do have a second segment, and this is something that I am calling Yo Ed, and it is all those questions that I keep asking you guys in my email newsletter to send over to Ed. I finally got him to answer them. Some of them are kind of long, so we're not answering them all tonight, but he's got a few questions coming up for you guys right now, so let's get into that. Yo Ed, can I ask you something?
Everybody, this is Ed from Ed's RV Repair. I'm going to be going through and answering a couple questions that Liz has in her email, so let's just jump right in. Here we go.
Yo Ed, my name's Amy, and there has been a squeal happening occasionally when the heat comes on. About 2 days ago, it started to be louder almost every single time the heat came on. My hubby is a mechanic by trade, so he assumed it was a belt slipping. We were told it isn't. What's up with that?
Your issue that you're having with your furnace, what's actually going on is there are no belts inside of your furnace. It's just it's a motor that spins, and it's got a wheel on each end that they both spin in unison with the blower. One actually draws air into the furnace. The other one moves the air around inside of your RV. Now, what's going on is the motor inside of the furnace itself has most likely gone bad. The bearings can go bad. It's actually fairly easy to fix, which really the big thing is you got to take the little cover off. It's just 4 screws. You pull that cover off, and then you've got a big squirrel wheel, which actually I think I have one. All right, so this is your squirrel wheel. What this does is this actually moves the air inside of your RV, and the other wheel, there's a smaller wheel that's going to be on this side that draws the air inside to the furnace. Now, what you got to do is inside there's 2 different ways that the squirrel wheel comes off. There's either the style like this that's got that little hose clampy looking thing that comes off, or there's another style that uses an Allen screw to loosen up and tighten on a little just a little clamp like that. So you pull that off, you get the big squirrel wheel off, grab onto the motor, pull anything out of the way that needs to come out for the small wheel, and then grab onto the motor, and you just got to work it off. But it's a fairly easy fix. It's actually the first thing that I ever did to fix an RV, and it was on our own. It was on a hydro flame. Now, a way to find out what kind of furnace that you have. If you have a cover on the outside that you can actually get to the furnace, then it's really easy, because normally the information is right there on the furnace. If you have a furnace that is actually underneath your refrigerator or near your water heater, or something that's kind of buried in the wall, it's going to have a little cover on it that has slats in it, or it could be mesh. But behind that cover, there's a big steel box. Inside there somewhere, there should be a sticker that has all the information for your furnace on it. So those are the two ways that you can generally see what style furnace you have. Or also, if you have the manufacturer book for your RV or for your coach, then inside of that, it should have the make, model, and serial number of your coach in it. Also, another thing that you can do is you can actually contact the manufacturer, and you can find out based on the serial number of your manufacturer, of your coach, from the manufacturer, you can find out what came in it. That noise that you're hearing is actually the blower. It's going to start the blower motor. It starts by making like a low growl, and then it kind of gets louder, and then it starts shrieking. Ours was so bad that you could hear it across the park if the heat was on. So that's all it is. It's just the motor for your furnace. The blower motor is going bad. Super simple to fix. It's going to be a couple, $100, $150 to get a new motor. Nothing major. It's not a super difficult job to do. So it's something you can do on your own. All right, let's find another question.
Yo, Ed, my name's Marcia, and one maintenance item we don't remember ever being told is related to our landing gear. I guess we're supposed to add grease to the top gears or something like that. Thankfully, the warranty company still replaced the entire thing when it bound up and wouldn't move at all last week.
Yeah, you do have to maintain your landing gear. There's so many different types out there. There is an app that you can get if you do have a Lippert system. It's called My LCI, and it actually will give you all of the maintenance manuals for anything that's made by Lippert. Let me see if I have it on my phone. I believe I do. The app is called My LCI, and this goes for anything made by Lippert components. So this is what the app looks like. There's enough information out there, and again, like I said earlier in a previous question, if your coach came with it, and if you bought it new, or if you got the book that comes with it. I mean, mine's an 07. I got the book that comes with mine. It's not as rare as people think getting the book with their RV. But if you have the book, then it will have the manual in it, and if it has the manual, it will show you how to maintain it. And that goes for all of the different pieces of equipment inside of your coach. If you have the manual for it, it's going to have user level maintenance to, just do simple maintenance things, and to find out what the maintenance intervals are, and to find out what grease you should be using or how often you should be greasing it. It's going to give you all that information. So if you've never looked through that big Bible for your RV, I would take this opportunity to take a look at it and find out what the maintenance intervals are for some of these things, because you may find out, like water heaters and furnaces, people put those little bug covers on it. That, if you read in your manual, it will actually say that voids the warranty. So just other things to think about when you're looking through that book. But when it comes to the landing gear, I don't know all the different types of landing gear, but I would just say read the book. Or if the book isn't in there, Google the book. Google the model of your landing gear, and you should be able to find the maintenance intervals for it. But yes, you probably should be greasing it.
Yo, Ed, my name's Debbie, and I've been a full-time RVer for about 3 years. I bought my fifth wheel used back in 2011. So I'm wondering, how long does anybody know that their black tanks are really clean? I don't have any issues other than the pull handles seem to be hard to pull and push back in to close. Even if I spray the lube stuff, I'm still wondering when they should be replaced. I'm just curious, honestly, if people replace any of them after a while. Thanks for hearing my question.
So this question is talking about the black tanks, and it's also talking about maintenance on the gate valves, the little handles to pull and release all of your liquids. All right, so I'm going to talk about the black tank first. One, how clean do you really want the tank that holds your human waste? I mean, clean is a relative word. Are you talking about, how often should your black tank be flushed? I would flush it if you have a flush for it. I would probably flush it every other, if you want to, every time you drain your black tank. I just pull the handle. But also, we don't put paper down the toilet, so it does kind of work a little bit easier, if that makes sense. Paper is usually the biggest issue that people have inside of their RV. What is your desired effect with cleaning it? Now, have I heard of people replacing their black tanks? No, because you're still going to be putting the same stuff back in it. It doesn't really, in my opinion, doesn't make sense to ever clean your black tank, or not to clean it, to replace your black tank because of, what's been in there, because chances are there's going to be the same thing back in there as was in there before. Now, as far as the gate valve handles, now if your gate valve is attached to a cable because it's on a fifth wheel, if it's in like an austere location, if you can't get to it, or if it's not facing the right direction to be able to pull from the side, there is a chance that you have cables. Now, there are different brands of gate valves. Some of them allow you to change the cable, some of them do not. Some of them require you to take the entire gate valve out and replace it completely. If it's still working and if you can still open and close it, I wouldn't recommend taking it out because that is a hassle. That is a huge deal. Unless you have an RV tech that you trust, I wouldn't just take something apart because it's hard to open. There are specific lubes that you can get to spray into the cable system, but again, I was working on a gate valve. It was a cable valve just like this, and it had a 72-inch long cable on it, and I think the distance was like 14 inches. But the person who, when they designed it, from the factory, they put this 72-inch cable on there, and it was a gate valve that you couldn't disconnect the cable from the valve itself. So it was take the valve out or deal with it. I chose to tell the guy that I didn't want to do the work because I wasn't trying to get covered in poo, or sometimes you have to take down the underbelly, which can be a big hassle. If it was me, I wouldn't change a gate valve just because it's hard to open and close. There are different lubes that you can get. You can get different kinds of silicone that actually go into the tank. But again, I wouldn't put a bunch of chemicals down into the tank just because your handle's a little hard to open and close. As long as it's still sealing and as long as it's, I wouldn't change it just because it's hard to open. Just with the amount of work that it is to do.
Hey, thanks, Ed. Awesome. How'd you guys like that? I always worry because Ed knows so much that it's too technical. I'm always asking him to break things down further. So hopefully those were some questions that, even if they weren't your questions, gave you a little insight into your RV. Who knew it would be so hard to change a handle on a black tank? And yeah, Heidi says, clean is a relative term. How about we get some t-shirts, you guys? I think that would be a really funny t-shirt, actually. So hopefully you guys liked that little segment. We actually have about 3 more questions already answered and lined up for our next show. And if you guys have more questions, be sure to email me or pop them in the comments if you're catching the replay, and I can just grab them right here. Awesome. Heidi says that was great. I understood his answers. And also, real quick, if you are catching the replay and you're not seeing the live comments, Katie Lee had a great question. She says, do mobile techs typically charge the same hourly rate as repair shops, or do they typically give a price to do a repair even if it takes a little longer than planned? So I know, usually repair shops, they say this will take 3 hours, so they charge you 3 hours worth of work or whatever. Normally mobile techs, of course it depends, but normally they charge a service fee to come out, whether that be $75, $100. Ron, if you're still watching, you can pipe him in the comments. I know he's a mobile tech. And then they typically, honestly, charge about $100 an hour, sometimes more, depending on the area and the demand. Ed always liked to charge a little less, even though I begged him to charge what he was worth, just because, you get to know people at your jobs. But yeah, my advice to you, if you're looking to get a great deal with a mobile tech, is be super nice. Maybe give them cookies or something. Ed always loved that. And stay out of their way. And not to say you can't ask questions. Definitely ask questions because you want to be as informed as possible about your rig. Definitely ask questions, but don't be the guy, over their shoulder, what's this, what's that, you can watch, not that that's not super annoying, but, just be in the area And when they're done, ask all those questions that you have. Yeah, definitely you don't want to be like Stalker Sally back here. Because, you know, who likes to be working doing that? You know, I don't have Ed right here watching me do this show. That would be awkward and make me uncomfortable. It's the same with your mobile tech. Of course, you want to know what they're doing, but be sure to ask before or after, and don't ask a million questions during. And they'll probably get it done faster and charge you less just because they got it done faster as well. So, hope that helps. Trekker says, could be a good sequel to Tales from the Black Tank. Clean is a relative term. I love that. Dave says, Ed knows his you-know-what. Awesome. Katie says, very easy to follow his answers. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for giving me that feedback. As you guys know, we are creating Fix It Yourself, an online RV maintenance course, and it's my job. It's Ed's job to create all the content, and it's my job to make sure you guys understand it. So that's awesome, awesome feedback. It lets me know that we are on the right track here. Tales from the Mobile RV Tank, the strangling of Stalker Sally. Oh my gosh, Trekkers, I need to hire you just for my creative team, because this is freaking fabulous. Anyway, I just want to tell you guys that next week I will actually be taking a break. This was episode 8. That means I did it 8 weeks in a row. Woohoo! Thank you guys so much for joining me. But next week I'm actually going to be at the Full-Time Families Reunion. And I'm actually going to be speaking on how to blog as a business. So I will be taking a week off from the show. It's just going to be Chelsea and I. So this is something I'll probably share in the newsletter, but I'm excited and nervous and scared. As you guys know, Ed is in school to become an aircraft mechanic right now. So we're not traveling as much. We're just doing the weekend warrior thing right now. But I'm going to be gone for 3, maybe 4 weeks. So Chelsea and I are taking our Subaru, and we'll be car and tent camping at the Full-Time Families Rally. And then we're going to be headed up to northern Alabama, mid-month for the RV Entrepreneur Summit, and I'm nervous and excited. I'm so excited to get back on the road. We got here January 1st, and we haven't moved the RV once, so I'm excited to be traveling. I'm excited to be going to these RV-centric events and speaking and volunteering and meeting my people and meeting new friends and seeing old friends. So if you guys are there, like, hit me up if you're going to be at the Full-Time Families Rally or the RV Entrepreneur Summit. I want to see you. I want to meet you. But I'm super excited. Wish me luck. I'll be traveling with a 4-year-old all alone in a car and a tent. I might be crazy, but I am excited. But anyway, yeah, I will be taking a break next week to be attending and actually interacting with the Full-Time Families Rally. And if you're there, come say hello. I would love to meet you or see you again. And we will be back on the 12th with Camille Attell to talk about remote work. Remember, also, I'd love any remote work questions that you have. She is my pro expert go-to gal, and I'm excited to be talking with her on the 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern. Anyway, thank you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you back here in 2 weeks.